Hey everybody, John Henry Soto here. So storytelling has become kind of a big thing in the world. People are always say, tell your story, tell your story. Everyone's story is different, which is always fascinating. Everyone's story is important, because it's their experience. So we should always be telling our story and documenting it and letting people know your journey, because that journey is going to help your kids, your grandkids, and so on. It's an important deal. So I've been holding back on doing a video like this for a while now. I'm going to actually do this one now as a trial, see how that works out. Um, and where do I start? I mean, I was born in the South Bronx during the, I was raised in the 70s and in the 80s in the South Bronx. And during the 70s, I don't know if anyone remembers, but the expression "the Bronx is burning." I mean, it really did. It was a pretty dramatic place to be. At one point, the South Bronx was considered the worst neighborhood in the country, like in America. Like I don't mean in New York. I don't mean in the East. I mean in America. It was actually that bad. We had presidents visit us: Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan. They toured all of the decimated communities and stuff. And the fires, the fires were a big deal back in the 70s. And I remember as a kid, I must have been like 5 or 6 years old, and it felt like it was every night, but obviously it couldn't be every night. But it felt like every night I would take the chair and I would push it to the window and I would climb up on the chair so I could see the fires out in the distance. We lived on the 4th floor on Southern Boulevard, 1058 Southern Boulevard. And these fires were really, really dramatic and huge. What ended up happening was a lot of the landlords weren't making any money, so they decided to just burn their buildings for the insurance money, and the people would just leave. They would give them money. Nobody would die. They would just go knocking on the doors and be like, "Here, be out tonight. Here's $1,000." And $1,000 in the 70s was good money. They packed up their stuff and they just got out, and the building was torched. Not sure whatever became of that as far as legal stuff. I don't know if anybody got caught. But that was kind of the neighborhood that I grew up in, burning up in the 70s. One image that always is stuck in my mind that I always remember is a fireman that was standing at the edge of one building where the other building was burning, but he was on this building. And he was standing right at the edge like this, and he was leaning over, and the pressure of the hose was holding him up. Like it was freaking nuts. And if that pressure would have gone down, he would have gone right through the alley, a 6-story building that was going up, and he would have been done. But that image as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy, I just remember that. It's always been burnt in my memory. Burnt, no pun intended. And then in the 80s, somehow this drug called crack kind of came up, and it completely just destroyed like lives. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I saw basically go down because of crack and just drugs in general. But just that one drug, I don't know what it was. It really just destroyed a lot of lives and families and stuff. It was terrible. And that was the growing up in the in that community during the 70s and the 80s. I was lucky that I had music in my house. My family loved music. My grandma called me, named me. Even though my mom gave me a name, my grandmother said, no, we're going to call him Tito. And my name was Tito growing up. It was Tito. It was my whole family called me Tito. My cousins, everyone was always Tito. They still do to this day. I go to the house and I'm just Tito, which is totally cool. I love it. My grandmother loved Tito Rodriguez. Tito Puente was big in our house. So my mother said, well, his name is Juan Enrique Soto. And she said, no, I'm going to call him Tito. And that was my name, Juan Enrique Soto. And I changed it to the English John Henry when I got older. I just didn't think that, I just didn't think that Juan Enrique represented what I wanted to kind of, the career that I wanted to have and the life that I wanted to lead for whatever reason. So I became John Henry as I got older. But when I go back home, or when I visit cousins or any relatives that are old enough and still around, they call me Tito, and I still love it. Then, music was a big part. So obviously my grandfather at the age of 9 grabbed me by the hand and he was like, come on, we're gonna go out. I remember we're in the South Bronx, but there was a music store called El Palacio. And El Palacio was right on Southern Boulevard where I lived, and just about a few stores down. And we went to the store, and I had no idea why he brought me there, but there was all these guitars, these wonderful classical Spanish guitars up there, and he said, which one do you like? And I was just like, oh, I like that one. I didn't had no idea, but they brought it down, and he bought me a freaking guitar at the age of 9. And my cousin, my uncles, all played guitar. So that was a wonderful thing to grow up and to see my uncles playing, and they taught me chords and stuff. So I was playing very young, and I enjoyed it so much. It was one of those things that changed the outcome of your life because of that one moment that your grandpa decided he wanted to buy you a guitar, and that one moment just really just shaped my future. Music and the guitar took me out of that environment. It released some kind of energy, and I felt anything was possible because of it. No matter where I was, the Bronx burning and crack, and I never took any drugs. I never smoked cigarettes. I never, I didn't get drunk. I'll drink wine now, but it was never a problem. And I never smoked anything or did any kind of drug because of music, because I was so obsessed with just playing music, And so that was actually a really important chapter in my life. I moved out of the South Bronx probably when I was about 24, 25. So that was the beginning. That was what happened for me. Obviously, a lot of other things happened. There was a lot of things that I remember that sometimes I don't like to talk about too much. It was a little violent growing up, the neighborhood and stuff like that. I'm going to tell some of those stories later on. This is just part 1, and I'll talk about music and playing in the band and what happened there, and just move forward on my story. And someday this video here, although it may not be getting 1 million views now, but at least my children and their children, and hopefully their children, if this survives this medium, and they'll be able to kind of like get an idea of what I've done and my views and my thoughts and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of the beginning, and I appreciate any comments and everything. And thank you very much. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. Now I'm gonna do this. And now I'm gonna do this. And now I'm gonna go this way.